Townhome sales and prices have declined once again throughout the Lower Mainland. After reaching a 12-month peak in April of 912 sales throughout the 3 real estate boards, sales have since slipped 16% to 764 sales in June. Despite the slowing sales figures, the lack of new listings has maintained a sales to listing ratio that continues to favor sellers. The Fraser Valley Board and Chilliwack real estate boards each reported a 26 and 27% ratio, whereas the Vancouver Board reported a slightly weaker 23%. Although the benchmark prices for townhomes held steady in all 3 real estate boards, they did finally decline, if only nominally. The typical Metro Vancovuer townhome is now valued at $1.138 million, down from $1.146 million last month. But this is still a 3% increase over this time last year when interest rates were much higher. When interest rates were much lower. Meanwhile, the Fraser Valley's benchmark value of $851,000 is down from about $854,000, which is less than 1% more than last June's value. We'll take a closer look at Chilliwack later on in the video. That's it for the region update. Let's take a look at our city-by-city statistics. Prices in Abbotsford's townhome market haven't fluctuated much over the last 3 months. The benchmark value has increased from $665,000 in April to $670,000 in May, but have since come back down a little bit to $667,000 in June. Despite the stable benchmark price in Abbotsford, demand for townhomes remains relatively high, although slightly diminished from earlier in the spring. The sales to listing ratio was up 45%, which is a strong seller's market in March and April. It slid to 29% in May, but came back up a bit to 34.4% in June. This is due to stable sales figures, while the city sees a declining number of new listings, making it tougher for buyers to find properties. If you're a seller looking to sell a good quality townhome, now might be a good time to get on the market. I'm not sure if you can see that graph, but in case you're wondering, yes, June's benchmark price for Burnaby townhomes is officially the highest it has ever been in history. June's value of $1,016,600 surpassed the previous record of $1,007,700 set back in May of 2022, again back when interest rates were much lower. However, sellers seem to be catching wind of these record-breaking prices, and the number of active listings has been skyrocketing while sales remain balanced. April-May had 42 sales, June had 40, which is respectable, but the number of active listings in that time has gone from 112 in April to 147 in June. This has caused the sales to listing ratio to slide from a strong seller's market of 37.5% in April to a more moderate 27.2%. The typical Chilliwack townhomes climb over $50,000 in equity from below $600,000 at the end of 2023 to $647,500 in March. However, this 5 months of consecutive price increases has since reversed, coming down slightly to $642,600. While this could just be a temporary blip, declining sales and increasing listings make it much more likely to be start of a trend. Sales fell to 51, which is their lowest since February, while active listings climbed to 190, the highest number since October of 2022. The sales to listing ratio has dropped from over 48% in March to under 27% in June, which is giving relief to buyers. This may be worrying for some sellers heading into summer. Coquitlam townhomes had gained over $70,000 in equity between December and May, but similar to Chilliwack, this is now reversed. The typical Coquitlam townhome came down $12,000 to around $1.084 million, which is just under 1% below the value posted this time last year. Sales continue to be stable, around 39 or 40 units per month for the last 3 months. However, with the number of new listings declining in June, the sales to listing ratio is stabilizing around that 26 to 30% mark that has been the spring, where it was actually for most of 2023 as well. This indicates a fairly moderate to strong seller's market. Values for Langleys townhomes have continued to hold steady in spring. The benchmark value of $872,600 is down slightly between May and June, but represents a 3.2% increase over last June's benchmark figure. This is among the strongest in the region. Willoughby's strong townhome market also had a slight dip in the benchmark value, but is still 3.8% more than last year's benchmark. Sales have held steady in Langley. Although Langley City saw the number of sales fall, Willoughby's strong MLS sales propped up the rest of Langley stats. The lack of new listings resulted in Langley posting a 34% sales to listing ratio, indicating a market favorable to sellers. Maple Ridge townhome prices have remained flat over the last few months, although still steadily climbing. Prices increased by less than $1,000 between May and June, but it was still the sixth price increase in a row. Since December, the typical Maple Ridge townhome has gained over $40,000 in equity and is currently 1.1% greater than this time last year. However, sales have rapidly fallen. While April and May had 55 and 52 sales respectively, June saw just 28 townhome sales. Meanwhile, the number of active listings has hit the highest point in the last half decade. The last time there were more listings was back in August of 2019. The sales to listing ratio has dramatically fallen from over 54% back in March to under 20% in June. The benchmark Surrey townhome value dropped for the second month in a row. The benchmark value rose almost $40,000 between December and March to a 2024 peak just shy of $891,000. Values have fallen slightly to just under $884,000. While South Surrey values have actually increased, Cloverdale prices have taken the hardest hit, falling from $886,000 2 months ago to $860,000 in June. Sales have remained relatively strong throughout Surrey, although decreasing steadily since March. However, the number of new listings continues to remain high, forcing the active listings to their highest point since July 2022. The sales to listing ratio has fallen for the third month in a row to 23% as it moves from a spring seller's market to a more balanced market. Despite the weakened prices in Cloverdale, there seems to be an increased demand with a limited supply in the neighborhood. Sellers may want to take advantage of this current lopsided ratio. Vancouver's limited townhome supply continues to increase in values. June's $1,355,000 benchmark price is the third highest on record. Sales decreased slightly from 83 in May to 74 in June, while the number of active listings decreased for the second straight month to 384. The sales to listing ratio dipped below 20%, but has remained relatively stable over the last 4 months. Every neighborhood and home is different, and so is your specific situation. If you would like a free, no pressure, no sales pitch, no obligation home evaluation update on your townhome, or would like to discuss whether purchasing a townhome is right for you right now, give me a call at 778-240-4239 or send me a direct message. I look forward to hearing from you. Be sure to check out my apartment and detached home market reports as well. I'm Brad Rickard, and this has been the Five Rivers Real Estate Group June 2024 Townhome Real Estate Report.